If you watch the game, he liked to smile and exchange a few words with the boy when they touched their caps to him. He made a special point of getting to know all the new boys and having them to tea with him during their first team. He always ordered a walnut cake and pink icing of Redway in the village, and during the winter term there were crumpets to a little pile of them in front of the fire soaked in butter so that the bottom only in a little shallow pool. His guests found it funny to watch him make tea, mixing careful spoonfuls from had family connection at Brookfield. He kept watch to see their plates were never empty, and punctually at 5, after the session had lasted an hour, he would glance at the clock and say, "It has been very delightful meeting you like this. I am sorry you can't stay," and he would smile and shake hands with them in the porch, to race, leaving them to cross the road at the school. The school declined again both in numbers and repute. Weatherby, who came in 1840, restored its fortune somewhat, but its subsequent history never raised it to front rank status. It was nevertheless a good school of the second rank. Several notable families supported it. It supplied fair sample of history-making men of the age, judges, members of parliaments, colonial administrators, a few peers and bishops mostly. However, it turns out merchant, manufacturers, and professional men. With good sprinkling of country squires, a parson, it was a sort of school which, when mentioned, would sometimes make snobbish people confess that they rather thought they had heard of it. But if it had not been this sort of school, it would probably not have taken chips for chips in any social or academic sense. We just are respectable but no more brilliant than Brookfield itself. It had taken him some time to realize this at the beginning. Note that he was Booster Costa had have been in his early 20s, as ambitious as most other young men at such an age. His dream had been to get a headship eventually, or at any rate, a senior mastership in a really first class school. It was only gradually, after repeated trials and failures, that he realized the inadequacy of his qualification. His degree, for instance, was not particularly good, and his discipline, though good enough and improving, wasn't absolutely reliable under all conditions. He had no private means and no family connection of any importance. About 1880, after he had been at Brookfield a decade, he began to recognize that the odds were heavily against his being able to better himself by moving elsewhere. But about that time also the possibility of staying where he was began to feel a comfortable change in his mind. At 40 he was rooted, settled, and quite happy. At 50 he was down of the staff. At 60, under a new and youthful head, he was Brookfield, the guest of honor at Old Brookfieldian dinner. The Court of Appeal in all matter affecting Brookfield history and tradition, and in 1930, when he turned 65, he retired, was presented with a check and writing desk and a cloak, and went across the road to live at Mrs. Wickett, a decent career, decently close. Three cheers for old Chips, they all shouted at the uproarious end of the dinner. Three cheers indeed, but there was more to come. An unguessed epilogue, and encore plays of to a tragic audience. Chapter 3. It was a small but very comfortable and sunny room that Miss Wicked led to him. The house itself was ugly and pretentious,